Rumi was a reincarnation of a great soul. For those who are very interested enough, they could go and search, and they will find out eventually who he was, and etc. So was his teacher, his mentor, his master, Shams, was even a greater soul. Again, sometimes hear people out of the, if they're not from the culture, they don't know. They say they were buddies, they were friends, but it wasn't so at all. The difference was huge. And Rumi, if they could read Persian, in which Rumi wrote over 60,000 lines of poetry, they would know better not to say that they were just buddies. And they would learn from one another. It wasn't the case. One was a master, one was a pupil. That's how Shams was, High Shams was. But it is documented that Rumi, whose father was a great scholar, they were walking, and Rumi was at the time, I think maybe 6 or 7 years old. And the father was walking ahead. Rumi was following his dad, and there is this famous mystic, Sufi mystic, called Sheikh Farid. Sheikh Farid. His last name is Attar. You can Google him, he's extremely well known. So he was an old man, and Rumi was only 6 or 7 years old, and the father was walking. He was here, and he said to his people, he said, here comes the sea followed by the ocean. Sheikh Fariduddin had the inner vision, some say eyes of the heart, some say third eyes. Rumi says heart of the eyes of the heart, sorry. Yes, so once your eyes of the heart is open, then you see the reality of things, the way they are. So even as a 6-year-old, this old man, who is Sheikh Fariduddin, again, look him up, just Google him. He wrote many, many books. He was also a poet. So that he was even greater than the father. A 6-year-old, he says, here comes the father, here comes the sea followed by the ocean. Meaning Rumi is by far larger than the father, the capacity of the soul. So, yes, so Rumi was a very special person. And even after his passing, in the spiritual world, it is said by the Sufis that he's one of the judges. There are apparently panels up there, and there are judges there. So they all work for that one God, because Sufis are monotheist, like our grandfather Abraham. And but then, of course, there comes his interfaithness. It is very, very known that Rumi, first of all, he was born in Balkh, which is today's Afghanistan, but then 819 years ago he was born, was part of the Persian Empire. That's why Persians say he was Persian, because he was born in Persian Empire. Afghans say he was Afghan, because now that is part of Afghanistan. And then because of the Mongol attack, the father felt unsafe, and Rumi was, I think, around 11 or 12 when the father took his hand, and the wife, the sister, everybody, they moved first actually to Mecca, then Iraq, and then Turkey. And first they landed in a city called Arzanjan, eventually to Konya. And then he stayed in Konya until he passed all his life, and he's buried there. But he was very much of an interfaith man. His students, he had Jewish Christian, Zoroastrian, Buddhist, Hindu, even atheist. He loved everyone, and his school was totally open to everyone. And he talks constantly about love. The backbone of his teaching is emanating love, unconditional. You see here now, sometimes we say be nice to everyone. You know, that's good, of course. But he says go beyond that, love everyone. Right? That's difficult sometimes. But he encourages us. He says unconditional love, meaning if you exist, you already have a particle of God in you. You would not exist if you did not have a particle of God in you. So therefore, because of that particle of God in you, you deserve to be loved, you deserve to be respected. Even in Hinduism, you know, like I am told, you can correct me, when we go like that towards someone, really like we salute you because of that celestial particle in you. So you see, again, there's all these similarities, and because the truth is one. So